Mentioned, joining me in studio is Senate Speaker Ken Lusaka. We have a wide range of issues to talk about with a big focus on devolution. Karibu sana, Speaker.
Asante
Welcome
sana.
to the program.
Thank you.
You have been Senate Speaker now for, let's give or take, 8 months.
Right.
When you took up this role, what were you hoping to achieve?
First and foremost is to preside, of course, over the Senate. And you remember that in the last session, there was a lot of acrimony between the Senate and the COG, the county governors, to the extent that instead of the Senate appearing to defend counties as provided for in Article 96, the Senate more or less appeared like it was actually fighting county government, which they were supposed to represent. So as I came in, and I thank God that I came in from having been a governor to Speaker of the Senate, that my first responsibility will be to try and, work out ways so that we narrow the differences that existed between the governors and the Senate.
How is that going?
It's going very well. So far, we have had induction course for the senators. I have also brought in my experience having been a governor. We have also had discussions with the governors. And I think the fruits of what I'm talking about will be seen during the Devolution Conference, which is going to be held in Kakamega. Remember that the previous devolution conferences, the Senate had decided not to attend because of the way they were treated by the governors in the last 4 devolution conferences. Because you see, governors took it upon themselves, like, devolution.
And by governors, you were one of them, which makes this an interesting conversation.
Yes, it appeared like devolution was all about governors, but devolution has more stakeholders. We have the Senate, we have the county assemblies, we have even Mwananchi himself and other non-government organizations, even the national government. So it's an all-inclusive. And that is why, as we go to this devolution conference this time, the Senate has been fully involved in working out the program, and we're also going to participate. In fact, we're going to have a pre-match before the main devolution between governors and senators.
Like a football match?
A football match in Kakamega, Bukhungu Stadium. We are hoping that that will also be a way of demonstrating that we can work together. Of course, as we even work together, we are not forgetting our oversight role, which is very, very critical, which is given to the Senate by Article 96, to oversight funds that have been, have gone to the county government. So it should not be mistaken, like, you see, when we are working together in a harmonious way, we are not going to do our oversight. The Senate is not going to play its overall role. So that is going to be there, but that is one of my issues that I wanted to address. Secondly, there was also a lot of acrimony between the national government, the National Assembly, and the Senate. We spend a lot, I think they spend a lot of time arguing which is an upper house, which is a lower house. I think I have made it taken it upon myself to be in constant consultation with my colleague, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Muturi, so that even where it requires writing memos, say concurrence on certain bills, we have a discussion before we write a memorandum. That builds good confidence, builds good relationship. So there's a lot more synergy. It sounds like that's one of your goals. That will be one of my goals.
I'm curious to know, how has your transition been? You are on the other side.
Yes.
So you've talked about football.
Yes.
You were playing for the other team.
Yes.
Now you're on this side as well. How has that transition been?
I think it's very interesting, and God has a way of doing his own things. Because I never imagined that I will be a speaker anywhere except maybe in my house. But today, I'm a Speaker of the Senate. And when I was a governor, I didn't imagine one day that I would be a Speaker of the Senate, because I was one of those who were constantly summoned to come to the Senate, to respond to issues that, were being raised in Bungoma. Some were
some which you snubbed.
No, I came. I was a very loyal person. I used to come because there was nothing to hide. I had answers. I thought, when you are called to come, you also dispel a lot of rumors, and then you make things clear so that where people may be doubting what you are doing, you are able to explain yourself. So now I think the transition is that having been a governor and now a speaker, I have a very good perspective of what devolution is all about. When I talk to the governors, I was one of them, and now I can talk with a lot of confidence that I have been where you are. I know what it means. When they are talking about certain things, I understand. When they're talking about certain things that I also know are not true, I can be able to tell them this one it's not true because I have been there. And now as a Speaker of the Senate, This is a house that oversights the counties.
Would you consider this role a step up, a step down?
It's obviously a step up. You see,
it doesn't look obvious.
Yeah, you know, in the county I was dealing with the local matters of Bungoma County.
But you had a big budget.
Okay, there was a budget, yes. You
Which
know,
is why we saw many senators wanting to be governors.
They wanting to be governors, you know, maybe to control resources. But again, when you see everybody trying to want to be a governor, targeting resources, then it's a wrong reason why you want to be a governor. Because you see, as a governor, you must be able to touch the lives of the people that you are leading through implementation of programs, and wananchi will know participate in identification of those programs. But if your objective is to go and you know, have a hand in the big budget that is the county, then that's a wrong objective.
So
but
you have no regrets?
I have no regrets.
Not being a governor.
In fact, I was telling the people of Bungoma that sometimes, you know, you might think you are kicking a frog when you're actually assisting it to jump further. So to me, I see this as a good challenge. And you know, remember, I've also been in public life. I started as a district officer, cadet for that matter. I went through the process. You know, I became a district commissioner. I was a first secretary of provincial administration. I became a permanent secretary. I became a governor. Now I'm a speaker. So I have an all-round perspective of this country and of governance. Okay. Right.
Speaking about oversight, I want us to get into this a little bit. I want to refer you to the latest issue of the Africa Journal of Comparative Constitutional Law. They released a study that says that Senate overstepped its mandate when it began summoning each of the 47 individual governors to Parliament seeking responses to audit. The paper went on to say that Senate then became obsessed with pursuing audit queries, taking over the role of county assemblies. In a nutshell, they say that senators were doing the job of MCAs.
Really, partly
true or false?
It cannot just
you, and that time you were on that side.
Actually, the first point of call for oversight are the county assemblies, because they're the ones who approve the budgets for the county assemblies. Therefore, their role is to oversight. Then, of course, Article 96, like I said, also gives the mandate to the Senate to oversight funds that have gone to the counties, because it's the Senate that approves allocations that go to the county governments. That is one area that, you know, we are all in a learning curve. That's one area that we have been discussing, and in our induction course, I did bring it out that we need now to get the threshold. What is supposed to be oversighted, for example, by the county assemblies, and what is to be oversighted by the Senate.
And that actually brings me to my question, which is that there are some who feel that what should be oversighted is funds moving from the national government to the counties. That should be Senate's role. And then the county assembly takes over, you know, at the county level. Do you agree with those?
I agree that should happen. But you see, again, also, all the audited accounts come to the Senate. Because we know so that's also our role. They come to the Senate. So where there are areas, and that's where we need now to sit down and agree, because we also don't want to duplicate roles, because it's a public wastage of public funds. We want there to be a threshold. In my view, I think there are matters that can be escalated to the Senate. So that matters that come to the Senate are matters that are of grave concern. But the first point of call for oversighting the county government is the county assembly, and that when now matters come to the Senate, and why the governors come is because the governor is the CEO. But otherwise, on the day-to-day running of the counties, we have chief officers who are the accounting officers of the county government. And that is why it becomes very difficult. And when we were in our induction course, we even had officers from the ESCC pointing out that, you see, there's no way, it's very difficult to pin down a governor in terms of accountability of the funds, because the people who run the counties on a day-to-day basis, who are accounting officers, are chief officers. Those are the people, if taken to court, then that prosecution can bear fruits. So that's an area maybe they need to look at, so that if the governor has to be taken to court for misappropriation of funds, then the law must be also changed so that the governor becomes the accounting officer in terms of funds that are allocated to the county government. So I agree that is an area that needs to be relooked at, so that our oversight role in terms of what goes to the county government is so clear as from what the county assemblies are doing at the local level.
What will stop a governor from manipulating his accounting officers to engage in graft? He benefits from what they are doing, but when it's a matters of court, you only see his officers paraded in court and not the governor.
That is where those appointed to those positions must be very careful, because if you are manipulated, remember, when I was doing my paramilitary training, I trained also in NYS and in Asadio. We used to be told, kumbuka utabaki peke yako. At the hour of need, it's you, the accounting officer, who will be held responsible. So when a governor tries to manipulate you,
picks up the phone, calls the accounting officer, says, put 10 million shillings in my personal account.
As a rule in management, never take instructions that are verbal. If you are being given instructions, insist on instructions being written. Government transactions are not transacted through bars or through telephone calls, unless it's just a conversation. But where is a commitment? If a governor is going to tell a chief officer or a CC, put 5 million, tell him, sir, with due respect, just put it in writing. Okay. That will assist you when you are taken to court, because you will definitely be taken to court if you have misappropriated funds, and you must therefore never take instructions that are verbal.
We'll pick up this conversation a bit later on. So former Governor Kidero claimed that the Senate had no role in overseeing county revenue. Would you say that Senate, to some extent, over the last 5 years, carried out the wrong functions?
No.
You don't think?
I don't think so. You know what happened, and I want to be very candid, is that the last Senate lost focus at some point where there were obvious conflicts of interest. For example, when you got, I want to use this example, the senator for Kakamega, Boni Khalwale, being chairman of, say, PAC, and summoning Oparanya come as governor, and he has declared openly that he wants to be the governor for Kakamega. That is obviously conflict of interest. The verdict is known. It's like taking, a goat to a hyena's court. The verdict is
the result.
You know the result.
That's
so
right.
That's why Oparanya failed. There's no need of going to see that to look so bad in the eyes of a competitor. And there were quite a number of senators. We have Lanyangapuo now, who is in West Pokot. He was the senator for West Pokot. You can imagine him summoning Kachapin. You can imagine Governor Bungoma, who was in a different party, appearing in Park where Moses Wetangula was sitting with his colleagues, and he had wanted a candidate of his choice to become the governor. So I think So I think that's where they lost the focus, and that's why we're saying that now, as Senate, the second Senate or third Senate for that matter, we need to be objective in our oversight, so that when a governor or whoever is being called to come and clarify certain issues, it is not political. You are not settling scores. You are not fixing anybody, but you are just asking that, our role is, we vote for money to come to the counties, and it's also our responsibility. If we told you to buy a suit and you went and bought a car, why did you buy a car, not a suit, as as directed? That's the clarification that they want, and those are some of the issues that come up. So I don't think they play the wrong function. It's just that those who are playing are the ones who are playing a different game.
You've talked about a different game. Former Governor Isaac Ruto recently called for the abolition of the Senate. He says, and I quote, the House had diverted its mandate. The reason senators have proved that they're not interested in fighting for an increase in revenue to the counties is because if revenues are increased, sitting governors will perform and will therefore be harder to unseat. We've already had discussions about 2022. Newspapers are carrying articles about Nyanza, succession already, senators preparing etc. Can those senators be trusted to carry out the role of Senate if their eyes are focused on toppling the governor in the next 4 years, and they will do everything to do so?
No, but of course, we have two sets of governors now. There are those who are completing their term.
That's right.
And then there are the new ones who have come. I don't think that there's any senator, and this is the conversation we want to have, who would not want more funds to go to the counties because those governors are going to. In any case, if a governor succeeds, then he's building a good base for you to go and build on what he has done. Like the governor was taken off from Bungoma, I put up a very good base. It's up to him now to build on what I left. So I think some of those comments are made out of personal frustrations.
That's how you term it.
Yes, that's how you term it, personal frustration. I think we need to have a conversation that focuses more on the bigger picture. I know there are senators, there are governors, and I was one victim who suffered not because they had committed any crime, but because people wanted to settle political scores. That should not be our focus.
These people?
I mean, some senators, them.
I may have
in the last house, I can tell you 90% of the senators were not talking to their governors, and this is because I think when the first senators came in, they thought it was going to be a very strong Senate, just like the US and that kind of thing. That was the difference, and that's why you saw that many of them now went for to be governors. But the current crop of senators came in knowing the role of the Senate.
You can vouch for that.
I can vouch for that because
you can see a marked difference from the senators.
I can see a big difference because one, as people were campaigning for Senate, he knew what Senate, they had seen what the senators had done, and now you are going to campaign knowing that my role is going to be oversight, legislation, and maybe representing that county. But the first ones who came, I think most of them, sorry to say this, had not maybe even understood the Constitution. So I expect, and I'm seeing a big difference with the current crop of senators. They understand what they're doing. The sobriety, even the level of debates that I'm witnessing in the House are very sober debates.
Fair enough. Governors, however, still complaining. Funds are not trickling to the counties. They're not trickling in on time, and there are complaints that they are still insufficient.
Of course, no resources will be sufficient. Let me start with that. Even if you were to give 80%, it will never be sufficient because the demands on the ground are very high. I can tell you that you know, a lot of things had collapsed. You know, you go some places, infrastructure, the health sector had collapsed. So fixing these things will require a lot of resources. I know resources have delayed in trickling down, okay, partly because of a prolonged election that we had. You know, that also had an effect on revenue collection and all that. But again, we had a discussion last week in Nakuru where we had the control of budget.
The retreat there.
We had the Auditor General. And as much as, you know, through funds have delayed in going into the counties, but, you know, there's also a procedure that has to be fulfilled by the governors and the county governments before funds are released. So some counties are not meeting those requirements because there's a way prescribed.
Why are they not meeting those requirements? You are on the other side.
Yes, that's what you see.
Some would say you've changed your tune.
No.
Then you would have been saying we need funds. We need funds now. No excuses.
Of course, funds need to go, but you see, there's also what you need to the basic requirements. You know, you have to fulfill. For example, you have to justify how you have used the funds. For example, the quarterly, if it's a monthly fund, there's a return that you make. So if you don't make the return, there's no way the control of budget is going to give you more funds unless you have explained how these funds have been used. I'm not saying that that is happening across board, but we're also saying that as much as the county governments are complaining that funds are trickling in, you know, delaying and all that, but they must also play their part. Because as a Senate, and I know that matter has been raised by senators, I can assure you, the senators have been very concerned. In fact, there's a statement that was sought, I remember, by the senator for Vihiga, you know, wanting clarification from National Treasury why counties are not getting money on time. And we got information. We are working, and the Senate is determined to ensure that funds. What information did you get? What were you told? Of course, you know, there were those, you know, revenue collection. You know, there was a, you know, revenue had not been collected as expected. Okay. And you see, this revenue also has to be distributed among the national government and the county governments. So whatever was being gotten, some was going to the counties, some was remaining at the national government. And again, this devolution conference is going to be a forum that we would want to look at these things candidly. We will expect the treasury. It might get quite heated. Yes, let it be heated. If it means bring it down the house, let's bring it down so that we build a new one. But we get a solution. Let's listen to what Governor Okoth Obado had to say about revenue allocation to the counties.
We are owed, I think, 3 months. We are not being paid 3 months. So that money, if you multiply it by what we are supposed to be getting on a monthly basis, it is almost 1.8 billion. That is a very good amount of money that can make us sort out all our contractors. No contractor will be coming here looking for his or her money. The mistake is not ours. When you see the contractors complaining here and there, each and every time about the county having not paid them, it is not our own making. Constitutionally, the remittances are supposed to be done before or latest 15th of every month. Frustration.
Yes.
You can hear it in his voice, yes. And you can see the spillover effect in that he says contractors are not getting paid, their workers are not getting paid. That slows down development at the counties. Many would have thought that for someone who has been on that seat, that your voice would be louder. We would see you moving to the house on the hill, making a lot of noise, saying money must move, must go. Now, we've had proposals from the Treasury to reduce or to, you know, to only allocate a percentage, and then, you know, because of challenges, and at some point, the CS for Treasury said he was misquoted when headlines said Treasury is broke. He came back and said, no, we are not broke, but we feel that all of us need to tighten our belts. Can I get a response from the Senate?
I think that's, I agree, it's frustrating having been a governor. But I can tell you I've also done my bit. I don't stand on the hills to shout.
Okay.
Just like the Bible
we can
says.
give you a chance to tell us what have you what
of
have
course,
you done?
I have talked to the the CS Treasury. I've had a conversation with the Deputy President. I've had a conversation with the President, and everybody was concerned that money goes to the counties. But you see, where I sit as a Speaker of the Senate, I don't engage in debates. I only moderate what is going on there, and I know that the leader of majority, Senator Murkomen, has also done a lot of legwork, walking around trying to push that funds go to the counties. So we have done our best. My voice is there.
Okay.
I don't stand on the top hills, but I'm saying that this forum that we are going to have in Kakamega, we'll want Treasury to be there, the COG will be there, the Senate will be there, and let us discuss candidly and point out where the problem is, so that we fix the problem. Because
in your view, where is the problem? You've told us about the county part. On the Treasury part, where's the problem?
Yeah, because for us as a Senate, we already passed what we call Division of Revenue Bill.
Yes.
It's already passed the President of the Senate. We are waiting for what we call the County Allocation Revenue Bill, which will come once the formula is brought by the CRA. So we have played our part, and we don't want to blame each other, but it's now the issue of releasing funds to the counties actually rests with the National Treasury. So the National Treasury should be able to also explain when we meet what the challenges have been in terms of releasing the funds to the counties in a timely manner, so that they are able to execute their mandate.
And you hope some of those answers will come out in the devolution
Yes,
conference?
they should come out, because I'm hoping that the President, by the way, is also going to be there.
Yes.
The President has pledged to be there almost throughout. So it's going to be a very candid discussion. We shall have the executive, the legislature, the COG, and I know the way our President and the Deputy President, there are people who would want answers to questions raised, not scapegoating or saying this has not happened, blah blah. Tell us the problem. If it's revenue collection, or why are there delays? That's the question that I know the governors will be asking, and everybody will be keen to get responses.
So on this matter, you say you've done
We've done our best.
As Senate?
As Senate, we have done our best. We have passed the bills. Statements have been brought to the floor of the House, and we have done our bit as Senate. In any case, it is our responsibility to ensure that we represent counties and county governments, and to ensure that the county governments are functioning and the devolution is working.
Okay. Yeah. At the beginning of this interview, you mentioned that you are familiar with Senate because when you're governor, you were summoned there a couple of times to answer questions about matters happening in your counties. Just to help us understand this a little bit better, an Auditor's General report released last year indicted you. You were asked to account for 194.9 million Kenya shillings expenditure on goods and services. You also put on the spot over 2.2 million paid to a car dealer to supply motorcycles. And this is not the first time that's happened. Queries have been raised about other issues as well. Were those mistakes by the Auditor General? Did they not get all the details, or did corruption happen under your watch?
What happens is audit queries are everywhere, including the Auditor General's office.
There are audit queries about...
There are audit queries about the Auditor General's office. So audit questions does not mean that it's not a crime, that you have committed a crime. What happens is, maybe when the auditors came, there were certain documentations that were not in place. Maybe, you take an imprest, and today and the next day the auditors come, it has not been surrendered, therefore they don't get documentation. That is why then officers are called to go and explain. And in most cases, answers have been provided, and those audit queries have been put aside. Where, you will be asked, for example, 190 million you're asking, I'm sure that a response was given. And when the auditors are satisfied that, okay, now we have all the documentations, they clear you. So, what has been happening in this country is that people think that when there's an audit query, then it's a crime. Audit is a management tool to assist governments improve on their service delivery.
Okay.
It's not like a policeman, or like when you are the audit queries being asked, then you have committed a crime. And like I said, as a governor, you are heading a bureaucracy. You have people who are doing procurement. You have people who are the chief officers, who are accounting officers, who are running the day, who are on the day-to-day operations of account government. Of course, as a governor, occasionally you get to check how things are moving. So when these things are brought about, you come and clarify, and you are clear.
So is it possible right now that you have governors running counties and workers under them could be up to mischief and they have no idea?
It's true. I can assure you for that. I have been a PS. I have been in public service. when you are running a bureaucracy, you know, you are not responsible for buying sugar, for example, or, you know, purchasing peppers. You would be there sitting, you know, comfortably in the office, taking tea, thinking that,
not knowing what's happening,
not knowing what is going on.
How do we stop that?
So that, you know, you need to put very strong systems in place. And one of the areas, like, if it worked effectively, is IFMIS, where, you know, you minimize contact between, say, people and money. Like, if you want even tenders, you know, to clear corruption, people just go to a website and, you know, hoping that website's working.
Okay.
You bid for a job, and when you win, you are called, so that there's no business of, you know, that, you know, people are evaluating and doing this. That's where corruption takes place. So then, you know, find that, you know, an item water that costs maybe 10 bob is costing 50 bob, because, you know, people have manipulated tenders. So once we get into the digital, you know, serious digital era,
yes,
we'll be able to minimize a lot of these things. And again, it's also personal integrity and, you know, attitude.
What I am yet to understand, though, is with the kind of money that counties have, how do they make accounting mistakes of such nature? For example, you say in your county, you dispute that corruption happened under your watch. You say it may have been that documents were not provided. How did it get to that? Yet you had the money to hire good accountants. I believe you had I want to trust you had a competent team. How do these mistakes happen?
Let me tell you, one challenge that the first governors got was we inherited former local authority employees. They were protected by the law. There's nothing you would have done. In fact, I can tell you one crisis that the county governments are grappling with today is a runaway wage bill. Because they have staff they inherited, you find 10 people doing a job that's supposed to be done by one person. Rationalization was carried out last year, but I think because of elections, it was shelved because nobody wanted to send away anybody or not send anybody packing, because that
potential voters.
Potential voters,
yes,
will have an impact on the governors, on the executive. So when some of those staff that we inherited obviously had, you know, capacity challenges, and, you know, building their capacity to be able then to perform was a big challenge. By the time we realized, and if you realize, a lot of these things occurred in the first 2 years, you know, 2013, 14, 15. As you move to 2016, 2017, you realize that a lot of those mistakes are now not occurring because, again, some of those workers were learning on the job.
But there are still audit queries, meaning now, what is that? That is now corruption.
Yeah, there are audit queries that are coming.
Recently.
There are obviously questions that will have corruption, you know, implications. The audit queries that will occur as a result of maybe documentation not having been placed.
Okay.
There are audit queries that will arise out of maybe sins of omission or commission. So all audit queries have their own way of appearing. What is important is for you to be able, or whoever is concerned, to be able to explain what exactly happened.
Okay.
And the auditors will clear when they realize that, you know, like most of the issues, even when we're coming to the Senate, most of the issues were being cleared. And sometimes, you know, you need to come and say, for example, there was an outstanding interest of, say, 100,000. And by the time, say, you are coming to maybe to respond, when you say you appeared in the Senate or whatever, you find that it has reduced to maybe 10,000.
Okay.
You've recovered the rest, and maybe, you know, some of the people who had taken the interest had challenges. So what is important is there are normally answers provided to respond to the audit queries.
What answers were provided to the now infamous wheelbarrows?
That of course...
10 wheelbarrows, 1 million shillings.
I have explained that more than 100 times, and I want to repeat that was more of a political thing. Bungoma County had purchased wheelbarrows costing 2,300 between 2,300 and 3,000. The wheelbarrows that they're talking about...
So those would be like almost 50 or 100.
Those are normal wheelbarrows. The wheelbarrows that they're talking about, we are putting up an international slaughterhouse, which was my initiative when I was a PS, to export chicken to other countries. And I want to repeat, people can say what they want to say. You cannot export meat if you don't use non-carcinogenic material. And that recommendation came from the national government, Minister of Livestock, to say we want... Actually, what they should have called it is a food trolley. A food trolley would then, you know, have a different name, but because it's a wheelbarrow, it's being wheeled. That's why it was called a wheelbarrow. So, but the material that was used is non-carcinogenic. What they should have been asking was that material used non-carcinogenic, but not just... So, you know, the politicians took it. Some of the people who were fighting me went and bought ordinary wheelbarrows and went and said, now you see, a wheelbarrow cost... In any case, it is me who had asked for an audit of how ministers were performing. And I said, let us, then when I also saw 109, I realized that there was a problem. So I asked for explanation. And they told me this is what had been recommended from the national government, because national government remained with the standards and policy. And therefore, when you looked at 109, the other one was 140, another one was about 130. So 109 was the lowest. So if it's an ordinary wheelbarrow, why didn't anybody quote 3,000 or 2,000? You can see the difference.
So these were the food trolleys that on average cost 100,000.
Yes, on average it's about 100,000. When you put a markup, you can then get.
Okay.
So you can even check the aluminium can that you used to carry milk. How much does it cost? Go for the stainless. Go for the stainless flag mask that you put on a vehicle. How much does it cost? It costs a lot of that. In any case, if anybody wanted to steal, why would he steal 1 million shillings? You see, those are some of the things. So this was purely politics. They wanted to run away with it and to tarnish my name. It's bought whatever wheelbarrows at 109. In any case, I even called in the anti-corruption. They came, investigation there. The matter is in court.
In fact, I was about to say the matter in court now is about, and we can't talk about the merits or demerits, but it's in court because there may have been an inflation.
There's in court, maybe the process was not followed. In trying to award the tender or something like that, but I can tell you, carry out a market survey or do anything, you'll find the truth about it.
You find the truth about it. So you were misquoted. Look, like now, international media outlets such as Quartz Africa wrote this. They wrote an article, and the title was, "A $1,000 wheelbarrow has become a symbol of Kenya's rampant government corruption."
That is exactly what we do to ourselves. Because even the people who are running around with those things, I had told them the truth. But because they chose to do that, you create an international, your pain is now not about the Bungoma, it's about Kenya. And those are things that we do to ourselves as a country. A matter that is so clear, a matter that can be explained, we escalate it for political reasons, you end up tarnishing the name of a country. Because you see, even when that happened, I called my senator, Wetangula, and told him, you see, Senator, this is the position, because I was also alarmed, but I've been given an explanation. But he's the one now and others who called for a rally, went and bought an ordinary wheelbarrow and said, now you can see, your governor has bought this. In any case, the governor doesn't even purchase wheelbarrows. So, but you see, again, it was
so you did all you could to aid EACC to investigate.
I'm the one who invited EACC, said now, because nobody was believing what I was saying. I told him, let me get an independent body which deals with whose mandate.
You knew nothing about this procurement.
I'm telling you, I mean, I have more serious things like, partnering, looking for partners to come and improve Bungoma. At that time as a governor, than purchasing wheelbarrows. That is something that's done by the Minister of
In hindsight, what could you have done differently? Now, I'm sure there are governors watching.
Yes.
Maybe if that happened to you, if your version is to be believed, then it could be happening to other governors as well.
Yes.
What would you tell them? What would you have done differently?
What I would have done differently is just to take a keener interest in what goes on. You see, some of us, by my training, I was a hands-off person. When I give you a responsibility, I don't want you to perform. I don't want to prefect you. I don't want to police you into doing what you are doing. But one lesson that I learned is that sometimes it's good then to be hands-on, especially when you are dealing with staff that you don't trust, or people who may not have capacity to be able to perform. So then you have to constantly find out, just do a random check. Like I did. Actually, let me tell you today, if I had not raised this issue of the wheelbarrow, it would never have been talked anywhere.
So you were the whistleblower.
I was a whistleblower. Then, a madman, when you are taking a bath in a river and a madman takes your clothes and you start chasing him, nobody knows who now the madman is. Both of you are running and you are naked. So the whistleblower turned out to be the one who is being victimized.
This sounds familiar. Yeah. We've had a previous CS who's now the governor of Kirinyaga County who also says she was the whistleblower. Yeah. So where does this then leave Kenyans? Because on one hand, there are the allegations being made against leaders like yourself and, of course, the former CS for Devolution. But you come out strongly and say you are the whistleblower. She says she was the whistleblower as well. Who are we to believe?
I mean, let me tell you, Kenyans are very good at propaganda. And
not all of us, though.
Most of you. And, a lie travels 1,000 kilometers before a truth even starts on your marks.
So this is what happened in this case.
Yes, so a lie will travel so fast, before you correct the lie, people have believed it and they run away with it. Even now, like I'm telling you, like in that instance, nobody wanted now to listen to
hear your side of the story.
People did not want even to be scientific. Should have called a scientist, a food scientist, to tell you what this means. People are just talking about non-carcinogenic. They didn't even understand what it means. Call a scientist to explain to you what it means, so that you also don't join the mob that wants to lynch somebody who has actually been the whistleblower.
You've said, you've been on record, and you've told, I think you told another TV station recently, that county should sit down with EACC so that we can prevent the devolution of corruption to the county level.
Correct.
That's your, you stand by that statement?
I stand by that statement because, again, when these perception surveys are carried out, you know, sometimes they can paint certain counties in bad light. And what I was saying is that, you know, before you condemn a county and say it's leading in corruption, you see, some of those indicators need also to be known. What are the indicators you used? Whom did you interview? Because I can tell you, when you're in a position of leadership, not everybody is your friend. And especially when you are, say, a governor, you know, there are people who may want tenders, there are people who may want certain favors. And when they don't get them, if you interview that person, he will tell you, this is the most corrupt governor I have ever seen. This is the most corrupt officer I have ever seen.
That then
so
becomes part of the perception
it
ranking.
It becomes part of the perception ranking.
Okay. And
that's why, you know, corruption, nobody wants corruption because it, you know, it destroys a country. And it's more important for me to prevent than even to cure. And even that time, I had said when I was a governor that, you know, we need to change maybe the strategy of how we approach corruption, so that, you know, we are talking to people. People must change their attitude. You must know that when you're going in an office, it's not what you will pass with, but what you will leave, the mark that you will leave there.
That makes a difference.
That makes a difference. And that conversation...
Would punishing people as in such a top level as governors create that change?
Yes, it would.
For example, if all the former governors who have queries give the same reason that you have, that they were whistleblowers or it was the people under them, then it seems to me that being a governor is a very good job. I can do whatever I want to do.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that
I'm just trying to advance the... Okay, go ahead.
Be fair to the governor or whoever. It could be a minister.
Okay.
Because we have investigative bodies like the EACC, the CID. Give the person the benefit of doubt. Carry out a thorough investigation without, being objective. Once it's proved that, you know, he has committed an offense, of course, then there are courts.
Okay.
Courts deal with evidence that is before them. Let the court look at it, and then you go the whole hog, you know, up to the Supreme Court.
Do you feel you are victimized?
Yeah. So that when now, if all courts from, you know, the EACC has said, the first court has said, Court of Appeal and Supreme Court are confirming that you have committed an offense, then you carry your cross.
Okay.
Because then, you know, again, governance is about reward and punishment.
Although
so those who are rewarded are those who have done well. Those who don't do well, they are punished. Even in the Bible, we know that there is heaven and hell. If you do good things,
reward or punishment.
Yes.
Although we know it's hard for the justice system because governors quickly move and file appeals that drag the case. But that's a discussion for another day. I want us to wrap up this discussion and give you a chance to give us your thoughts on the much discussed Luhya unity. Recently, you were asked, you and Devolution CS Eugene Wamalwa, to support this newly found unity of Amani National Congress and Ford Kenya. Is your answer still the same, that you prefer to make development-focused partnerships that compromise communities drawn from various regions as opposed to this Luhya unity call?
You know, you don't call for Luhya unity because you have a problem. First of all, why are we uniting? You should start by asking. And the Luhya unity story, narrative,
2022
has been there for a long time. In 2013, I ran on New Ford Kenya as the governor. Our presidential candidate was Musalia Mudavadi. We called on every Luhya, let us support our candidate. Of course, we failed with him, Bila Kupingwa. But, you know, I had told them, let us support. This was our own. Some of the people now championing Luhya unity, that time did not find it fit for Luhya unity. So Luhya unity is about myself. If I'm the leader, then it's Luhya unity. But if somebody else, then it's never Luhya unity. What I was saying, and I want to seek, and I think what I had yesterday, a member of parliament saying Lusaka is against Luhya unity. Yes. I'm not against Luhya unity, but we must have a different approach to the Luhya unity. And what I'm saying, for example, I saw leaders going to the deputy president's place. That's the right way to go. But you see, when you are in a hole, you don't quarrel when you are in a hole. You look for ways of getting out. So when the two, those are in the hole, those who are on top.
Who are in the hole? Musalia Mudavadi?
Yes. And
Moses Wetangula?
Yeah, and you don't now start. Yeah.
What hole are they in?
You have heard what they are saying. The things are not working in the other side of NASA. Wetangula said he has a severe relationship with Oginga Odinga. And we are saying that, you see, now of course, the Sen Nyanza is going to look for new partners. You saw the handshake between the Prime Minister and
President Uhuru and NASA leader Raila.
So if now these ones are throwing, you know, they're saying now we have done with you, you have no votes in Western Kenya. Well, what those ones are going to do is to get new partners. They're going to get new partners from Rift Valley, from Central Kenya. Where does that now leave the Luhya people? The other day, you know, in terms of ranking now, as we speak, whether you like it or not, I'm one of the highest ranking Luhya politicians, Luhya leaders in hierarchy as a Speaker of the Senate. You cannot, how do you talk about Luhya unity without Lusaka being mentioned?
But they are saying join them.
No, they should join us. We join them to go where? We cannot form a Mulembe party, or, you know, a party that is just confined in Western and say we are going anywhere. Let us partner with other parties. Let me tell you, if I stood, you know, on Newford, Kenya today and didn't make it as a governor, I'm telling you I would be at home. But because, you see, like I was telling them,
you made some decisions.
I made a decision, very hard decisions, closed a kiosk to build a supermarket called Jubilee. When I went there and, you know, things didn't work, at least I was accommodated, there was space. But if you just confine it, if NASA was a party, Wetangula would not have been removed as the leader of minority, because then he would have been a party. But he found himself alone as a new Ford Kenya. I mean, as Ford Kenya leader, he was the only one. The others who would have assisted him were only six, 3 in ANC and 3 in Wiper.
Okay.
And in the assembly and politics, you can talk the best. You can have the best language, but it all is all about numbers.
And in his removal, you played a crucial role, because as a Speaker of the Senate, and you followed the right procedure. There was no bad blood between you and him.
Let me tell you,
if he was here, would you be able to say that to him?
I would say to him, I was a referee. I was a judge.
You were not settling scores.
I was not settling scores. I mean, if I wanted to settle scores, I would have settled the first day the matter was brought. But I said, no, go and rethink. I was giving them time. Is there, can you repair? Can you talk to your colleagues and see whether you can survive this? But then when that didn't happen, on Tuesday, in fact, one MP said that I should have left for my deputy to make the ruling. I said, no, in fact, that would have been worse. They would have said, this one fixed his brother, and now he has left somebody to come and make the pronouncement. Because I was clear in my conscience that I was just playing my part.
Okay.
I was not a NASA senator. They had made up their mind. Mine was just to follow the law and make the pronouncement the way it came on my desk.
Speaker, thank you so much for giving us a chance to have this honest conversation. You're watching Citizen Extra. Stay with us. We'll be right back.